This is David Turner, and I'm going to talk about how to uh, debug web pages as you're developing them. And this is in the context of a course that I'm teaching called Web Page Programming. Here's my schedule of coursework. And in this class that I'm teaching right now, there are these assignments where you go to Code Academy and carry out the coursework that's there. And so that's I'm going to skip over that, and it's actually the issues coming up right around this time here with this jQuery assignment and jQuery user interface assignments. This is about the area here that I see people starting to deal with debugging their web pages as they develop them. So what I want to do is talk about how to find problems in your web pages. So let me get started. I'm going to start up Eclipse, and let's see here. So in Eclipse, we've done what we've done in a previous exercise. We created this Google App Engine project, and we published that to the Google App Engine deployment system. And now we're going through these jQuery tutorials and adding jQuery to our published website. That's where we are currently in this course. At least that's the point I'm talking about. Let's see. I'm going to check this. That's the workspace I want to use. So I just started up Eclipse, and actually this page is open. That's the page I want. I'll show it to you. Here's a project. It's called Proj, and this is the WAR folder, or the Web Archives folder. Here's a web page, index.html, which is generated by the project creation wizard for Google App Engine projects. And basically, see this web page here. Now, what we can do is start the web server locally here. So I'm going to do run as. I could also do debug as. This is debug as lets me set breakpoints in the servlet code. But we're not actually doing any servlet programming in this course. So I'm going to do just an ordinary run as. It runs, I believe, faster than if you run it with the debugger. So the type of launching I want to do is to run it as a web application. You'll see the Google symbol there. I don't quite understand the difference between these two choices, by the way, and it hasn't. So I don't get that, but it hasn't been an issue yet. I usually just pick that one. So this is going to start. You'll see down here in the console window. Looks like there's a lot of stuff going on here. Here's the console window. I'll just maximize that. And see, it looks like a successful run. Go to the web page here. I'll minimize that. And I'm going to start by working in Chrome. I'm going to paste and go. This is the web server running locally, and this is the web page. And there's nothing in there. Let's take a look. There should be something. There should be at least this table in there. So let me go back and check that again. Go to view the page source. You know what? This is a different application, and this happened to me last time when I did this. This here doesn't seem to be launching the right application. You can see this here is the my head section. I have a header element right here, but there is in fact no header element visible here. And so I think the problem is that I'm going to check the console. Well, look at this. There is some error message here. There's a warning in here. Look, it's loading a JavaScript file. This is a different project. So I've got something is wrong with my run configuration. So I'm going to shut down that server. I'll do it over here on the console tab. There's a shutdown button. I'm just going to shut that down. So it looks like when I do this, right-click, run as web application. I'm going to try it one more time. See, now it looks like it's correct. Let's see here. I'll try it one more time here. And it's still, I'm going to view source, so I right click in here, and then view page source. Yeah, I don't see that. This is another experiment I'm doing. So I think this is an issue with Eclipse. You know, when I right click this and run as web application, I should get this project to be launched, but that's in fact not happening. I'm going to shut down that thing. I'm going to go into the run configurations. Here it is, run configurations. And this proj here, let's see. So actually this is all set up correctly. This all looks correct. And for some reason, maybe it's just cached. Maybe the problem is my browser is caching the old application. So let me go into here, proj. I'm going to do it a third time. By the way, when I right-clicked on this and ran as web application, I was basically launching this run configuration. So I can also launch it here. This is the URL that the application is running at. Well, I already have that in the browser. And if I hit refresh on that, I still get the old application. I'm just going to verify that this is coming from my browser cache. That's what I think is going on. I'm going to start up Firefox and try to go to the same location. And look at that. See, so it's an issue with my browser cache. This browser, Firefox, I can see the application, no problem. This is the title element, so that's an H1 tag, and then there's this header here, available servlets. You can see that. There's the title tag right there, but that's the tag contents, the element contents. And here's available servlet. So that's in fact working correctly, but Chrome is caching that page. Even when I hit refresh, I get the same thing. So this is quite an inconvenience. I'm getting a different web page which is being delivered out of the cache. So I'm going to just investigate for a minute. I want to change, if I can, my cache settings. And there is settings here. And let's take a look here. Default browser. Show advanced settings. I don't see anything here. Well, why would Chrome be so aggressive as to cache that web page, even when I reload? Let me think here. I don't see it in there. Let's look at, so it's not under settings. How would I do this? Let me think about this. I wonder if I've got something up here to do preferences. This is the same web page. Let's see if I can turn off caching in Chrome. Hold down the Shift key and click Reload. This works in all browsers. Here we go. Look at this. Hold down the Shift key and click Reload in Chrome. This works in all browsers. That's the claim there. We don't know if that's true. Alright, let's take a look here. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, click Reload. Look at that. So it's doing a bit of aggressive caching, and let's see if I change the content. I'm just going to investigate that a little bit. Hello, I'm going to say goodbye CSE 322. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to save that. Now when I go to Chrome, let's see if I hit an ordinary reload. I get that. No, I don't get it. Why would that all of a sudden work? So that's a bit of a mystery to me. So we've got Firefox. I'm going to reload. And I don't quite get it. Why would I get that behavior? So it's something to be careful about. It could be that, you know, the safe way to go is always hit Shift Reload in Chrome, and perhaps in all browsers. Now, I don't see any way to quickly and easily turn off that cache. Of course, you know, when you're browsing the site, I think that the Chrome developers are trying to provide some optimal sort of experience for the end user with their caching policy. So don't really want to change the default caching policy that comes with Chrome. I'd rather figure out how it works and make sure that I'm aware of it when I'm developing websites. All right, so that's one thing. There's caching in the browser. That's the first thing to talk about. Now, what I want to talk about here is how to troubleshoot problems with JavaScript. And I'm going to drop in some JavaScript here. I'm going to throw in a script tag. And this will be some issues. So I'm going to do something. Let's see. Let me do. I'll do x dot a. So I'm trying to access. Let's do it like this. I'll do a console. You know what I'll do here? I'm going to do console. Is it console log? I can't remember now. How do you print to the browser? Because I better not do that. That's a topic I'll get into in a minute. So I'll do an alert here. So first I'll do alert high. Let's see if that runs. When we run the web page, let's see if we get an alert. And I'll go into Firefox this time. Load that. There's the alert box high. We get the same thing in Chrome. High. And now if we do this, alert X, this should come up, I'm going to guess here, undefined, or it'll come up null. Not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. It's either null or undefined. Let's reload. Where is that? There it is. And see, we don't get any result there. Now watch this. I'm going to reload this web page. So we get an error. We no longer see the alert. Okay. I changed it to this. Now, if I just change it, just to demonstrate this to you again, if I fix the problem, because X is undefined there, if I fix the problem and then reload, I'm back, right? So here I'm using what's called a string literal. I'm just printing the letter X as a string. But if I refer to X as a variable, X is now undefined, and we won't get any response. Now, how can we debug this? So we're expecting to see an alert, but we don't see it. So how can we get information? So on the web page, in particular, when our JavaScript is not behaving the way we want it to, we need to open up the developer tools that are available in the browser. So let's see, I'm going to start with Chrome. I'm going to show you these developer tools. So in Chrome, there's a little menu thing over here, and I'm going to go down to Tools, and then Developer Tools. This JavaScript console, this is a tab pane within this Developer Tools window. I guess you can call this a window down here. Alright, so let's see. This is Sources. This is Console. Look at that. You can see it right there. Uncaught reference error. X is not defined. So now we can see what the issue is. If I go back to Eclipse, make this a string literal again. Go back to Chrome. Here's the page. Of course, this is the error message for this web page, which is now stale. I'm going to reload that. And now we don't have an issue. The alert box works correctly, and you can see here in the console, the JavaScript console, it doesn't indicate any error. Once again, I go back, put this in, we'll have X is undefined rather. X is undefined. There it is. Let's see what it looks like in Firefox. Ready? So this, we're not getting the alert, but how do we view these this console window? And let me look for it. It is not in there. I'll go up to Firefox. Is it Preferences? No. let's see, there it is, Tools, Web Developer, Web Console. There's Error Console. You can get to the Error Console through the Web Console. Let me show it to you. Here, unlike Chrome, this console here is shown in the top. And you can see the error message right there. X is not defined. So we can see the error message. Once again, let's fix the problem. Let's see if we fix the problem. Well, one way to fix the problem is define X. So let's do that. Bar X. And now we're defining it. Of course, now it's null, so it should just say null. Go back to Firefox. I'm going to reload. Oh, it's undefined. X is undefined. So this declaration doesn't work. So X comes up as undefined, but it is defined here, so I don't quite get that. Once again, let's see if we have the right. If I look at, I'm going to do this view page source. And you can see this is in fact, I just want to verify that that's what's being processed by the browser. It's coming up as X is not defined. Just to make sure that that's the case, I'm going to clear that, and I'm going to reload. X is coming up as undefined. So it's declared, but it comes up as undefined. I don't quite get that. Anyway, let's see what Chrome does for that. I'll reload that. It also comes up undefined. So when you declare a value, but don't set it to anything. How would we do this? X is set to 0. So this will define X. Okay, I'm going to reload in Firefox. There's the 0. You can see there's no error message anymore. It shows some logging activity here. So this is a GET request sent to this URL. And this is another GET request. I don't know why there's two GET requests here. Oh, this GET request here, it looks like there is some reply from the web server that the page is not modified. That's interesting. So I don't know exactly how they did that. Okay, I'm not going to dig into that right now. Let's check Chrome. 0. As you can see, there's no error message down here. Now I'm going to try it in Safari. We also want it to work in Safari. We'll check our site in Safari. And there's the site I was just looking at. And I'm going to go to this URL. There it is, 0. Now let's see how do we debug from Safari? We'll go back into here. Let's take out this definition. Oh, I'm going to save here. All right, go back to Safari. Reload. Nothing. Reload. Nothing. So now it's no longer giving us that alert. But the problem is that we don't have the error console open. Let's take a look at how to turn that on. So now actually there should be a menu item up here. And I did some reading about that. There it is. Developer tools for Safari. And here they talk about enabling developer tools in Safari on the desktop. So it has to be enabled. So we go into advanced settings. Looks like is it general? Let's take a look at that. Alright, so in Safari, and that's Chrome. Here's Safari. I'm going to go up to Safari and Preferences. Let's see if we can find this thing. This is Advanced Proxies. I don't quite see it here. This is General. And I don't get it. Where is it? Where is this? Somehow, come back into here. You enable the developer tools in Safari on the desktop by turning on the Develop menu. In Safari Preferences, click Advanced, then select Show Develop Menu in the menu bar. It shows it, Show Develop Menu in the menu bar, right there. So this is under Advanced and Preferences. This is Advanced. There it is. Huh, I'm blind. Show Develop Menu and Menu Bar. Okay. Now there's the new menu item, Develop. So let's take a look at the error console. Here we go. Now there's no error message. That's because the error already happened, and so it's starting this log from the starting point. So we need to reload the page to see the error message down here. There it is. Can't find variable X. Let's fix that. You know, let's see what it does when we just do this. X should come up as undefined. Right? Let's take a look. Gonna reload. Undefined. That is not an error. I'm going to just talk about that a little bit. This is the same as doing this. Look at it. Actually, undefined is a predefined object in JavaScript, and it's actually an attribute of the global namespace, which you can get to in browsers through this object called Windows. So this is in fact, let me check this hypothesis there. So check that. Undefined is actually a predefined object that's in the global namespace, and the global namespace is in fact defined as the attributes of the properties of this window object. Let's see if what I'm saying is correct. I'll reload this. There it is, undefined. See, if we did something like undefined X, like this, I mean that's not a property of Windows. So this should also actually come up as undefined as well. Maybe that's not a good example. So I think I'm going to have the same result on that. Let's take a look. Undefined. I get the same result. That's because this property actually is in fact undefined. So JavaScript would have this now evaluates to the undefined object. Yeah, let me give an example here. So this is in fact undefined, and we're trying to access a property called undefined on something that's undefined. Let's see how that shows up. Look at So they call it a referencer. Can't find the variable window X. So I'm referring to something that hasn't been defined. Of course, we could define it here. We could just do this. I'm assuming we just do that. We're referring to it. We're just putting the symbol there. We're not doing anything. Let's see if it takes it. Still an issue. And I saved that. There. Now window X is defined. Undefined is not an object. See? So window X is now an object, but undefined, which is a property of window X, is it apparently says it's not an object. I don't quite get that. And anyway, I'm going to undo a lot of this stuff here. This is just do it like this. It also set X to null. Anyway, this does in fact fix it, if you can call it fixing. So this is the the equivalent to doing the following. This is equivalent to just declaring X, but not setting it to anything. Let's verify that. Declaring X, not setting it to anything, ends up having X be set to undefined. Declaring X, setting it specifically to undefined, gives us the same result right there. All right, so that's just to show how that works. Now, I want to talk a second about something else. Let me just fix it all the way. That's a 0. Let's see. We could also rather than right now we're going through the web browser. I'm going to close this out. I think I'll close this. Firefox as well. You can also go directly through the file system, and here's my workspace, proj, war. This is the file that's in the file system. I can in fact load that. Here I'll open, and there's the 0, there's the alert. You see the difference. Here's the URL. It starts with what's called the protocol. The protocol is file, the file protocol. Notice it's interacting with a file system. And here, the protocol is not shown because it's the default protocol of HTTP. Now Chrome removes HTTP because it is a default protocol. If it did something HTTPS, I don't believe that will be removed. And this is on the development server for App Engine that HTTPS is not supported locally. So we can see that here. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to talk about some issues that are going to come up when you work with jQuery. And in particular, this note that I just added, the protocol-less URLs, and what's going on with those. All right, so let's grab jQuery. I'm just going to download that. I'm going to grab, this is the, haven't used this version yet. This is, let's get the minified version. Look at this, it just drops it right in there inside the browser. In fact, we can just copy that, highlight everything. We copy that. There's one way to, the other way to do it would be to right click this and save link as, so just to show you that it's equivalent, just to copy the text. Sorry, in the war directory here. This is the location we need to be in. I'm going to create a file here and call this jQuery.js. I'm going to paste what I copied from a browser window. There it is. It's one long string. You can see that that's huge. This is the end of the string. It'll take too long to get to the beginning. So this is thousands of characters here. And it has a comment right there. It's, the rest of it is minified. So this has been compressed. All the variables have been replaced by short identifiers. So it's not easily read, but it takes less bandwidth to serve. So that's the purpose of using that. Let's see. Save could not be completed. Try file save as if the prompter says. Some characters cannot be mapped using Roman character encoding. Let's save as UTF-8. That's the standard character encoding for the web. And save that out just like that. Actually, I've never seen that message before, and I've always wondered about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and include jQuery. We use script soc equals jQuery.js. You know, I'd like to just close this element off like that, and then delete this part. But there is issues in some or all browsers, and it's not apparently the correct way to load an external script. So we need to use the full opening and closing tags when doing this. Also, I don't have a content type specifier in here. I'm going to leave that out because I think this is okay for now. So here we're loading jQuery. Let's see if we got any error messages on that. Here it is through the web server. Still says 0. And if I look at sources, well, that's not it. Elements. Yeah, under elements, I can see this is where I load the file right there. And we can also look at it through the file system without passing through the web server. That looks good. Alright, now let's do the kind of like the standard jQuery initialization. And I'll use the $document. That's jQuery's wrapper around the document object. And we're going to call its ready method. And the ready method takes an argument. It takes a callback function. And this is the function that gets called when the document has been loaded. Tab that over. When the document is loaded, I'll say alert. Yeah, actually, let me do it like this. I'll add, I'm going to get rid of this table. I'm going to get rid of this. But this is the header, okay. Leave the header in here. I'll call it the jQuery test. So I have a header. I have nothing else in there. But what I want to do is add to the body element. So I'm specifying the body element here. This is the jQuery wrapper around the body element. And I want to append some new HTML. I'm going to append a div. And in the div will say, I've been appended. See, that has an apostrophe, doesn't it? I've been appended. And so as you can see, I'm escaping the apostrophe. That's because I'm using apostrophes to delimit the string. So I need to tell the JavaScript interpreter that this apostrophe doesn't terminate this string literal, but indicates that I want an apostrophe in the string at this point. So let's take a look at that. Let's see if that works. Go ahead and load that. I've been appended. There we go. So that works. Now let's take a look. Sorry, let's go back, and I'm going to check. That is in fact the file system. Here's the web server. I've been appended. And it's good to keep this console window open. And I'm going to do that here as well. This is the page that we load directly through the file system. And that'll be Tools and JavaScript Console. Alright, just to check that, load that again. Now, I'm going to show you an issue that could come up, and that is, I'm going to go ahead and publish this, just to show you. This is I go down here to Google, look at App Engine Settings. I have an application ID in here. I've already created this application, and I'm going to deploy it to Google. So I'm going to go ahead and click Deploy. Where is it? There it is. Where is it at? Version 2. Oh, you don't need to change your version, by the way. That's I recommend that you leave your version as is. I think I have covered that in another video. All right, so let's check what happens when we look at the application through this. Through Google's App Engine system. So it's let's see, my application ID is CSUSB DT. There it is, 322.appspot.com. There it is. I've been appended. Now, when you run the local web server here, that it will run the web server and support regular HTTP, but it does not support HTTP as running locally. And that's just how this Google App Engine plugin is set up. You can, in fact, test websites locally using HTTPS, but you would need to use a different arrangement. You wouldn't use the Google App Engine plugin. You would do it in some other way. And I don't want to get into that. But when you're deployed, you actually have access to HTTPS, so we can pass through the secure port of the published link here. And I don't have any trouble. It seems to work. Why would that be the case? Let me do this. Thought it was going to have an issue here. Let's see, JavaScript console. No problem. Look at the source. This link here doesn't see. Oh, I didn't put a protocol in there. That's why I didn't trigger the problem. Let me put the protocol in there. HTTP. Let's do it like this. Alright, so we have the protocol here. And let's go back and see what happens. This is when we go through the local web server. Oh, look at this. This says $sign is not defined. And what is going on there? Not what I expected. This is HTTP, and is that right? Oh, localhost, and it's 8888. All right, that's what that looks like. All right, that's okay. So I put the protocol, the protocol and the host name in there. So obviously, if you're going through the file system, that's not going to work. So it's better to use a relative name. So we wouldn't put this in here. We just have the way we had it originally. Just have jQuery in there. And here's the file system. So you'll see, obviously, that's not going to work. But in fact, it still does work, so I don't get it. Oh, the reason that works is I'm still running the web server. Shut down the web server. How do I get to the web server? Let's see, how do I shut down the web server? And let me take a look here. What happens if I try to run it again? Should fail, right? Could not open. Address is already in use. He has an issue here with Eclipse, or the plugin. I cannot shut down the currently running web server. You know, I don't get that icon, and normally I get this icon over here where I can shut it down. So there must be a way to do it. Let me search under Window, Show View, and do Other. So it's going to be under Google. Development mode. Try that. Development mode. There we go. I still don't get what I need there. When I need to restart Eclipse. So I'll shut down, see, I just shut down the web server because that's running in Eclipse. So I want to come back to this web page, which is being loaded through the file system. We should get an error message because, I'll explain it, because I'm viewing source here, because this resource is specified as being loaded through a web server running on the local host, listening on port 8888. So this should be a source of failure for us. Let's verify that. And it works. Uncaught reference error. $ is not defined. Get here. See, this failed. This is an error here. It doesn't explain it. It just comes up as an error. Let's see what it looks like in the other browsers. This is Safari. I'll just do Safari. Well, before I do this, I'm going to go to Develop and show the error console. There we go. Let's paste it in there and return. There it is. See, it comes in red here. Failed to load the resource. Could not connect to the server. There it is. So we don't get that I've been appended message either. Alright, I'm going to go back to, let's see, Eclipse. Start Eclipse again. And let's see where I'm headed here. I'll tell you where I'm headed. I'm trying to illustrate at this point, this is the concluding kind of illustration. I would show how to use these. Actually, I'll do it just like that. This is called a protocol-less URL, which I've been noticing recently, in recent months, but never quite, and I had a hunch about what it meant. And I read some materials about it this morning, so it seems like it's a fairly standard, emerging standard way to load resources. But it doesn't work well with the file system, and that's what I'm trying to get at. So if I indicate it like this, let me go ahead and launch this thing. I'm going to right-click and run as web application. See, I have this development mode tab open. That's same as console. I'm getting very similar output there. And, actually, this doesn't seem to do much. Go back to the console. It tells us the URL that's published out right there. This is another URL similar, but this is for control the Google App Engine environment emulator. So it gives us control over the data store, the emulated data store, and I think mainly the data store, but some other features as well, so that we can test locally in an environment that resembles the environment that we deploy into. But we can ignore that. We're basically not going to use that in this course. So what we want to do is just access the application directly through this URL. As you can see, it's already there, so I'm going to reload that. And now look, this page source, once again, this is a content-less, or a protocol-less reference to this this resource. And that works. There's no error message here. I've been appended, it still works. And we look at through the file system, this should fail. This is what I'm trying to get at here. I'm going to load through there. And once again, $ is not defined. So this is a failure. So we cannot tell if we're using, the point there is that if we're using a protocol-less URL, and then we cannot test through by accessing the file system directly. We need to go through the web server, a locally running web server. Let's check the other browsers, because that may only be Chrome. Let's check the other ones. This is it here, right? Let's go ahead and reload that. And once again, this error occurred trying to load the resource. This doesn't work. What about Firefox? I'm going to need to launch Firefox. I'll do that. Alright, and we should, actually I don't see it, the element is not being created, so this is failing in Firefox as well. Remember that we should also have the web developer console opened up. $sign is not defined. It doesn't tell us that the file couldn't be loaded. Oh, there it is. This is, no, it still doesn't tell. It doesn't tell us why $sign is not defined. Well, it's not defined because the jQuery library couldn't be loaded, but it doesn't show that here, so it's kind of an issue there. I don't know why that's. Looks like we're showing everything. I don't know why that's. I think that's kind of an unfortunate omission in Firefox. Now Safari lets us know that an error. It shows us that it cannot load this resource, and Chrome does the same thing. Right there. I reload that. Actually, Chrome does not do the same thing. Chrome's like Firefox. It just says that $sign is not defined, but it doesn't say why. We get better information through Safari in this case, because it tells us that. It shows us that, hey, I can't load this thing. This is the, see, it's using this file protocol, and it appends this business, which doesn't make any sense. All right. Now let's go ahead and publish this. Let me deploy to the App Engine. Well, I needed to do something else to complete the illustration. I'll have to deploy again. But first we'll test this. All right. So we'll test how this works when this is deployed. I'll go to Chrome. This is the URL. I'll load that. Oh, it says localhost. Of course, this URL is not going to work. So this here is an issue. We should not have encoded that URL in there. Of course, the best way to do this is just to have it as a relative URL. That's because we're using jQuery locally here. So I'm getting lost on what I want to do here. Coming back, let's do the CDN. Let's look at, this is the Google Ajax Libraries API CDN. Let's use Microsoft CDN. Let's see how that works. Okay. So this is, in fact, if you look at this, this version of the library is published to this URL, which is managed by Microsoft, provided by Microsoft. So that's nice. So Google does the same thing, but you could also do it through jQuery as well. So let's see. I want to change that here. There it is. Now see this HTTP. I'm going to take this out. Make it protocolless. Okay, and before I do that, I'm going to go back to here and check to see if this is available through HTTPS. It is. So it's available through HTTP and HTTPS. Once again, Chrome omits the HTTP, that's the default protocol. So here we can use a protocol-less URL. And I want to compare that with we call this index2.html. Let's compare that with here's index2. Let's compare this this protocol with HTTP colon. There we go. So I've put the full. Let's put the full path in here. Let's check. We are, I believe, still running the local web server. Let's see if that works. This is fine. Firefox. This is fine. So let's go ahead and publish that. And here's the issue that you know, this relative URL is not going to work when we load the file through the file system. So it shows it right here that this cannot be retrieved. Right? It's going through the file system, but we specified this host name in there, so it's not going to load. So if you use, here's the important point to remember, if you use a protocol-less URL like this, that you cannot test from the file system. If we load index2, this will work. Index2 specifies the protocol. So you might think, well, why don't we just specify the protocol, then it'll work when we load the page through the file system, and it will work when we load the page through the web server. So we get both working. But the problem is when you go to HTTPS, and let me illustrate that to you. I've just deployed this to the App Engine. Looks like that was a success. Let's go to the web server. Now this uses I'm going to go ahead and load that. I've been appended. View page source. Remember, this uses the protocol-less reference to the jQuery library. But if we go to index, I also want to point out this is HTTPS. I go to HTTP, it's good, that works. Okay, if I go to /index.html, oh sorry, index2, no problem. But if I change this to HTTPS, I get a problem. It's Chrome's security mechanism comes in, and it says that, wait a minute, you loaded the web page through HTTPS. The web page you loaded, here's view page source. The web page you loaded runs JavaScript. And you loaded the web page through HTTPS. That means you want to be secure. You want to make sure that you get the web page from the server, that there is no man-in-the-middle attack. And however, in your page, you're loading this JavaScript resource through an insecure channel. So this link here, this reference here, this load operation here is done through an unencrypted channel, or it would have been done through we're telling it to go through an unencrypted channel. And Chrome's security mechanism is saying that, no, I'm not going to do that. Here it is, blocked. The page ran insecure content from here. So, but when we use the S here, we want to guarantee that the sender is known and confirmed, and that there's been no tampering with the data as it came to me. Let's take a look at what that looks like in the other browsers. Let's look at Firefox. I'll go back and get the URL. This is HTTPS index 2. Now look at what Firefox does. It's different. You have requested an encrypted page that contains some unencrypted information. Information that you enter on this page could easily be read by a third party. And I left this alert me. Yeah, I didn't turn that off. I left that on. And look, it went ahead and ran my JavaScript anyway, even though there was a bug in the web page. So you can see that Chrome is implementing a stricter security policy than Firefox by default. Probably you can configure Firefox to follow the same policy as Chrome, I would guess. Of course, a regular user would never do that. Let's take a look at Safari. Let's do the same thing. Let's see what Safari does. Safari does nothing. It just goes right ahead and happily executes the JavaScript, even though that the jQuery library was loaded through an insecure channel. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to go through HTTPS. And look at that. What does it do? Is it redirecting to HTTP? What happens if I make this just index? So when I go into here, this is an interesting behavior. In Safari, so all three browsers are doing something different. In Safari, when I go through HTTPS and I get, the index.html, that's the review the page source. Oh, it's down here. When I load using the relative or the protocol-less reference to, or URL, the protocol-less URL of the jQuery library, that everything's okay, which it should be. All the browsers have the same behavior for this instance, right? There's HTTPS and so on. Now, if I try to go through HTTPS and grab index 2, look at what happens. It bumps me out of HTTPS and loads the page. Let me open this up. Oh, look at this. What did it do? It went to the other web page. It looks like that has been redirected to the to load the page. No, this is index 2. It looks like it redirected the browser to load the page through regular HTTP. It's still requesting index 2, but it's no longer encrypted. But it went in here, and it looks like it's it just reloaded the page without HTTPS, so it's not giving us that guarantee of encryption. Try it one more time. HTTPS. Look at that. So all three browsers have a different behavior, and I would say the one browser that's not one browser. They just all have different behaviors. Just something to keep in mind when you're developing. So it's convenient to use a protocol-less URLs. So index.html is the good one, and index 2 is the bad. Here, this opens us up. Well, of course, if we knew that we were if we're only going to make the page available through HTTP, that was our intent, then this page works fine. But if we want to allow the user to access this web page through HTTPS, then we should not specify HTTP here when we try to load the jQuery library. Of course, it's not the bad one. It's the bad one only when loading through HTTPS. Right, this would be. So that's the value here. But the other thing to keep in mind, of course, this is convenient, is you get your site working through HTTP and HTTPS both. However, you cannot test your web pages through the file system. Because you can test the bad one through the file system, but you can't test the good one through the file system. There it is. If you can call it good. So those are all of the various implications or consequences of using HTTPS, HTTP, protocol-less URLs, and accessing content through the file system. And it was kind of a long presentation here. We also looked at how to use the browser tools to catch errors in the JavaScript. So I hope this was useful.